Hello students, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to discuss a very important lesson from your English book, that is the first flight, and it is the second lesson of the book. The name of the lesson is Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. I think students, all of you might have heard the name of Nelson Mandela. How many of you know his complete name? His complete name is Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. That is his full name. And this is an autobiography. Now, what is an autobiography? The life story of a person written by himself or herself is an autobiography. So, this lesson is an autobiography, an extract from his autobiography named Long Walk to Freedom. The name of his book is Long Walk to Freedom, and this lesson is just a small portion from that book. So all of you are aware of his name, Nelson Mandela. Who was he? He was a very important freedom fighter of South Africa. After independence, he became the president, the first president of South Africa. And in this lesson, he describes his journey from a boy to a freedom fighter, and then finally the president of independent South Africa. Let us read the lesson and try to understand what he wants to tell us. Students, we know that South Africa faced a very big problem, and that was the problem of apartheid. Now you may be thinking, what is apartheid? I'll tell you, it's a system where racial discrimination is practiced. People are discriminated on the basis of their race, because at that point of time in South Africa, the natives of South Africa, that is the blacks, then people from India and some countries also went and settled there, the colored people and the whites. So the white people, or the people of white race, European race, they were regarded as superiors, and the other two races were treated as inferiors. They were not treated equally. So that was the system prevailing in South Africa. That was before South Africa's independence. So students, this lesson starts with the preparation for the first Independence Day celebration of South Africa. I'll read out the lines from the text and then I'll explain it to you. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. So Nelson Mandela says that the morning when there was a daybreak of 10th May, that was very bright and clear, and for the past few days, he says that he had been surrounded by popular people from all over the world, dignitaries, world leaders who were coming to South Africa to take part in its grand celebration of Independence Day, who came to pay their respects before the inauguration ceremony. They came there to pay their respects, and the inauguration ceremony would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders. That was the first time so many people from different countries, so many leaders, dignitaries have come there on South African soil, and he says that that would be the largest gathering of international leaders. The ceremonies took place in The lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So he says that the ceremonies which were to be held, which was held, that took place in a very lovely place, a sandstone amphitheater without roof, okay, open space like a stadium, you can say. There it was held, and that was formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria at a time before independence. That was a symbol of white supremacy. That was a place of white supremacy. The white people, it symbolized the power of the white people. For decades it was like that, but now it has become a site of rainbow gathering. People of different races, different countries, different cultures have gathered there. Why they have gathered there? In order to celebrate the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government, in order to form the South Africa's first democratic and non-racial government, where there was no problem of any race. Okay, everyone was equal. The first democratic and non-racial government was to be installed. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zinani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. So he says that on that day he was accompanied by his daughter. Her name is Zinani, and on the podium is a small platform where a speaker stands and speaks. Mr. de Klerk, he was sworn in as the second deputy president. Then after him, Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. To the assembled guests and the watching world, I said. So after Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president, it was Nelson Mandela's turn, and he took a pledge. In the swearing ceremony, what they do, the leaders are made to take an oath. The same way, Mandela also, he took a pledge that he will obey and he will uphold the Constitution, he will follow the Constitution, he will always keep the Constitution above him, and he will devote himself for the betterment, for the well-being of the Republic, of the country and its people. And to the people who were assembled there, he gave a short speech. He said, what he said, let us listen to that. His first speech on the Independence Day of South Africa. Today, all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to the newborn liberty out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. He tells the people, that those who were gathered there, he says that today we have come here, we are present here to give glory and hope to our newborn liberty or freedom out of the experience which we faced, an experience of extraordinary human disaster. You know, sometimes you may get a question in the exam that what is extraordinary human disaster? It talks about the pain, the suffering, the torture, the oppression, the discrimination which Nelson Mandela and the people of South Africa, the natives I'm talking about, the black people, and the colored people, apart from the whites who underwent all those problems. He calls this as an extraordinary human disaster which lasted too long, and he says that after that must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud of. So here I want to tell you something. See, nothing is permanent. Tough times are there, but it's not that the tough times will be there forever. It will change. Time changes. So after that extraordinary human disaster, there was a hope in Nelson Mandela and his group that there will be a time will come, a society will be born of which all humanity will be proud one day. We who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be the host to the nations of the world on our own soil. He says that at a time we are regarded as outlaws. The system of racial discrimination in Africa was it was illegal, declared illegal. And most of the nations, they didn't have good terms with South Africa at that time because racial discrimination was practiced there, and racial discrimination was already declared illegal in most of the countries. So those people, South African people, were treated as outlaws. Today they became the host who were hosting that grand inauguration ceremony where so many international guests attended. We thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is after all a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. Then Mandela thanks all the people who came there to attend the inauguration ceremony, and they have become a part. They have come to take possession, they have come to participate along with the people of their country and to celebrate a ceremony which marks a common victory for justice. That's a victory of justice, victory for peace and for human dignity. Once we are independent, we'll get these things. We'll get justice, we'll have peace, and we'll have human dignity. Dignity of means value of a man. Every person, every citizen will get his or her value. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledged ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. Emancipation means here we are free from all certain restrictions that were imposed to us by the colonial government. We have achieved our freedom, political freedom, and we pledge that we will liberate all our people from some other existing evils, bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. Mandela pledges, he takes a pledge that he will uplift South Africa from all these ongoing problems that were present. Never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. Then he has a hope that it will never happen that their beautiful country will again experience the oppression of one group by the other group. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. He says that this will go on. This achievement will go on. The sun will not set, means it will not come to an end. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. With a hope that let freedom rule like that. And he prays to God to bless Africa. I hope you have understood this much. So Nelson Mandela's exciting speech on the first Independence Day celebration. So he has not only talked about the victory, not only talked about the happiness, the celebration, he has also pledged he has taken a very important pledge, that is, he wanted to remove South Africa from bondage of existing evils like poverty, deprivation, sufferings, all those things. No? He wants to liberate the people of South Africa. It was the best part of it. Let us see what he has to tell us next. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union building. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Then everyone's eyes was above. They lifted their eyes to see the display of the military. Spectacular array means an impressive display, colorful and attractive, as most of you might have watched on the TV during our Independence Day celebration and Republic Day celebration. If you watch on the TV, you will find that there is a display by the Air Force, by the Army, military people with beautiful jets flying in the sky, releasing smoke of different colors, forming our Indian flag. So all those look so beautiful, and there also it was like that. Just above the place they were sitting, those jets were passing by that way in perfect, that was in a perfect presentation, pinpoint presentation, a perfect presentation of the military. He says that it didn't just talk about the military's strength, but it also showed the military's loyalty to the new government which was elected by the people, loyalty to democracy, loyalty to a new government that was freely and fairly elected by the people. So it talks about how loyal the military is to the government. It talks about its loyalty also. Only moments before, the highest generals of South Africa defense forces, South African Defense Force and police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. He says that just moments before, the highest generals of South Africa, their dresses decorated with all the medals and ribbons which they got for their bravery, they saluted him. He, being elected as the president, got respect from the army officers, military officers. I was not unmindful of the fact that not many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. So he says that I still remember the situation. I remember it, that had this occasion been before independence, then those military officers would never have saluted. Rather, they would have arrested him. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue and gold of the new South African flag. Finally, he saw a group of jets flying together, releasing smokes of different colors, and that was all the colors present in the South African flag, such as black, red, green, blue and gold, which symbolize their new South African flag. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of whites singing Nkosi Sikelel, I Africa, and the blacks singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. Then he tells us that the day was symbolized by playing of two national anthems there, one by the whites and the other one by the blacks. Whites, they sang Nkosi Sikelel, and the blacks, they were singing their traditional die stem, but he says that neither of the two groups knew the lyrics, but if they keep singing, practice singing, they would soon know the words of that song by heart. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of our 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial discrimination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. On the day of inauguration, Nelson Mandela says that he was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means he was overcome completely in mind and body with a sense of history. In the first decade of 20th century, that was a few years after the Anglo-Boer War, and that was before his own birth, the white-skinned people of South Africa, they created a system of oppression of their own people of the country, that is the blacks, and they dominated the dark-skinned people of their own land. And the system they created was the most inhuman, harshest, most cruel, inhuman, not fit to be called a human system societies the world has ever known. Worst inhuman society, cruel society, harsh society the world has ever known. Now in the last decade of 20th century and my own 8th decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever. Then he says that now in the last decade of 20th century and for him the 8th decade, he says that the system is now overturned forever. It is overturned, it is changed forever, and it is replaced by one that recognizes the rights and freedom of all peoples regardless of their color of their skin, of the color of their skin. So this system has now changed forever. It has got replaced, okay, it has got replaced by a system which understands, which recognizes the rights and freedom of all the people regardless of their color of their skin, regardless of their color, whether they are black, they are white or colored people, doesn't matter, everyone will get its right. Now such a system has come. It has replaced the old system of oppression. Students, today I'm going to conclude here because this is a long lesson. I'll be making other parts, videos on other parts of the lesson. It may be 2 or 3 videos depending on the duration of the video and the length. And whatever I have discussed today, I think I was able to make you clear. Same time, I would advise you, at the same time, I would advise you to go through the lesson, go through the tough words and try to understand the lesson deeply. And if you have really understood the lesson, if you feel that this video is helpful to you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe this video. Thank you so much for watching this video.